I'd like to welcome you to my Thursday Bread History Seminar Workshop. I am broadcasting from my kitchen in Santa Cruz, California. My name is William Rubel. You can find my book, Bread, A Global History, at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other online sources, possibly also at your public library. I'm writing a larger bread history, and really this work in the seminar series is feeding into this new work that I'm writing. So thank you very much for watching. You can go to my Facebook group, Bread History in Practice, join the group. That's where you will get notifications of the live seminars, and also you will see what people are posting who have attended the seminar. If you want to make breads that are mentioned, then go to my website, williamrubel.com. I don't have all of the recipes from each of these seminars posted, but increasingly I do. So you should look there first in the category seminar. Now I always start with the same two slides. And so I'm going to do that now. Bread is an invention, like a chair, a car, a shoe, or a necklace. I want you to think about that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, Dan?
Do you think that bread is a Platonic form, idea? He uses the example of a bed, but
do you want to talk about that?
no, it's just because it's an invention in our terms. If you go back to earlier periods, like Plato or Neoplatonic, it is what he calls a form or an idea, which each loaf of bread realizes.
That's very beautiful, Dan. Very beautiful. And bread is certainly an idea, and it's an idea that is very much shaped by the culture that we're in, to some extent, or to a large extent.
William, you're on mute.
So everyone but William should mute, but not William. So if you're not William and you haven't muted, you should mute.
William, do you know you're on mute?
Okay, now I'm good. Okay, how much of that did you miss? Just a little bit. Okay.
All of it, I think.
Did you know we heard about the invention? So you're just on this slide, right? Okay, so when you look up at the night sky and you see all those constellations, all those stars, the one thing you don't find is the idea for the best bread. We don't find the recipe for the best bread, because the recipe for the best bread, or the idea, is in our hearts, and can be, is obviously influenced by culture. And today we're going to go beginning first in modern Egypt, where bread is still very important, and then back in time to find very different ideas about bread, a very different dream. I want to begin with this idea of realizing the sense of the Nile, the river Nile, rising and flooding the landscape, and then slowly going back down. You can plant your crops, get them off, and then the water rises again. The Nile Valley is one of the most unusual ecologies in the world, because basically it doesn't rain. It just doesn't. There's parts of Egypt where there's essentially no rain. And yet it's as this fertile place to grow grain just within sort of the visual distance of the river, the area where it could flood. Now, it doesn't flood anymore. Since 1960 and the Aswan High Dam, the natural ebb and flow has ceased. But we are mostly going to be talking about a culture of bread that grew up while the Nile breathed. So I want us all right now, I want you really slowly to pull in a breath, and we're going to let the water of the Nile rise out of its banks and flood the land. And then you hold there a second and slowly let the air come out. And imagine doing that year after year, long before there were humans, and then when there's humans, and then the last 5,000 years, 7,000 years of human habitation in the Nile Valley. And there were times that it was interrupted, and there's some interesting climate change moments in the history of ancient Egypt. It wasn't all clear sailing, but essentially you had like a utopian system for agriculture. You didn't have to worry about the climate because the water came essentially rising from the ground.
Mm. Mm.
Grain and power. Grain and power. That's an idea we know of from today. Arthur Daniels Midling, one of the largest privately held corporations in the world, the American international grain trade, American power, America's song, the golden waves of grain, American power even today is based firstly and on our grain. And then we have in Egypt this bread of dreams. This is I found this, ran across this beautiful, beautiful image. The last tomb on the last trip in December of 2020. And just to me, this is it. Woman handing whatever it really means, showing a bread to her lover. Just beautiful. So we're going to be moving into a land of dreams. Now, I think one problem we all have dealing with Egypt is this very, very, very stylized art that sort of makes us think that they are like a different people than us, different from everybody. It's a different time, different place. There's sort of the world, and then there's Egypt. So I wanted to show you these beautiful sketches on the walls of Abydos. This one on the left, which doesn't look at all like these stylized pictures. And of course, when you see sculptures, there can be very realistic scribes and people that look like us. So I wanted to do these. Now, Delwyn Samuel was here today. I met many, many years ago. Rachel Loudon suggested that I write to her because Delwyn and her then husband, Mark Nesbitt, are the experts on respectively ancient grains and then the fermentation wine, not wine, but beer and bread in Egypt. So they have this fabulous website called ancientgrains.org. They both generously publish all their papers online. And you'll go to Delwyn's section. So there's no way to do any research on Egyptian bread without beginning with Delwyn. And it's great to have her here today. Today's just an introduction and she doesn't have any notice. I'm hoping she'll help us as we move beyond the introduction, because mostly what I would say about, did they make bread at home is going to all be from Delwyn's paper on whether they made bread at home. She just stands at the center of the archaeological research and archaeobotanical research on bread. Delwyn is responsible for the breakthroughs in using a scanning electron microscope to look at the scrapings on the inside of containers to work out what things are. And I know there's a big question, or in all these books, the Egyptians are credited with inventing yeast and doing this, that, and the other thing. And Delwyn is at the center of that scientific study of what was the yeast that they may have had, what was the bee like. But we're not going to get into that today. I do want to say that today we're not going to get into the specifics of details of ancient Egyptian bread, because I want us to get moving back and talking about bread in a bigger way. Just as you don't need to know how a bread factory works to know that there's this cheap bread in plastic wrappers pre-sliced on your oven shelf and what that might mean for human culture. So I want to send all of you to ancientgrains.org. Her papers are beyond brilliant. These are the best written academic papers really across genre in this kind of a field where people are doing, actually measuring and reporting on expeditions. So that's Delwyn. So with that introduction, Delwyn, just please say hello to everyone, if you could.
Thank you for those very generous words, William. You're embarrassing me, but hello, everybody, and it's lovely to be here.
Thank you. So this is what it looks like from my hotel window in Cairo. How many of you been to Egypt? Hands up, the little green hand. There must be a few. Delwyn, Dan has been there. Okay, anyway, some. And so this is modern Egypt. This is the modern Nile. Obviously, it doesn't flood. It doesn't flood. My work is from 2 trips, one 2018-19 with my wonderful, fabulous daughter, Stella, who is currently going to school in the neighboring room, in the living room, and with Jane Levi. And she is here with, sitting with Ibrahim Soliman, who was the supervisor of antiquities for northern, for Upper Egypt for many, many years. He's a wonderful, wonderful person, and he happens to live next to the hotel where we stayed. These are the colossi of Memnon, and most of this bread work is done in Luxor, in the West Bank, which is not the tourist side. There's just a couple of hotels. And in the background there, you see those hills. On the very left side, that is where the workers' village is that we will be visiting, and those are where the tombs are that we're going to be going down into. It's still somewhat agricultural in this West Bank. And here you see, this is tomatoes being dried on plastic. And with that, we're going to introduce you to Ibrahim and his family. I'm going to begin with a few pictures. This is a oven right at the entrance to the alleyway to my hotel and right by their house. And they're making a Ramadan bread, which is going to be made coming up. And this is Ibrahim, who's with us, and I'm going to introduce in a minute, making this Ramadan breads. He set up to sell bread while I was there. And this is outside the front of their house. And Ibrahim's mother went on the Hajj. So there's a beautiful Hajj painting. And so she's a Hajjah. What you see here are these incredible, brilliant paper mache discs. So you're taking newspaper and they're working the bread while it's wet, the bread dough on these discs. And we're going to be seeing the making in some pictures here of what they call sun bread. This is leavened in the sun. And she begins by cleaning the grain. So she's buying grain, but it's not completely clean. First cleans the grain. Then here she's washing the grain on her roof. And you see her husband drying the grain that she's rinsed multiple times to get it clean. And of course, the Nile, there's water. I think you should imagine that grain was cleaned. You should imagine that grain was cleaned. I know people's teeth were ground down, and I know there's a theory that it's from sand in the grain. I know that Delwyn has an opinion about that. I don't want to get into that today. What's important just to realize is it's pretty awful to eat bread that's sandy. I have done that before, and I'm also sort of skeptical. She makes the bread. She has an electric mixer. She makes the bread about every 10 days or 2 weeks. It's a staple food. Bread is still a staple food in Egypt today, as it was a staple food 3,000 years ago. Because I want to be introducing ancient bread, we're not going to go into her whole system. But I did want to point out in the lower left, she has this brilliant way of pulling the dough out and making it into this perfect smooth ball and placing it on those platters, all with one motion. It goes from the house outside where it sits in the sun for some more time. Obviously there's children and other people involved in making the bread. It's a big expedition, a big project. And she has this beautiful, beautiful oven, or did when I was there last year. Now she's had to move the oven, and I think today we're going to be able to go out and visit the new oven. But this is, again, making a staple food. They're really, really eating bread for a lot of calories. I'm going to show this slide, and then we're going to be introduced to Ibrahim and his mother, and you're going to be able to ask questions. All right. So I'm going to pull this now. Last picture. They're also cooking. This is Ibrahim's mother, who's a Hajjah, who we're going to be meeting. So you can see a bread coming out of the oven on the peel, and then a woman is pointing to pots that are in the embers. So the fire is underneath the oven, and you saw it comes up through into the fire chamber. And it has beautiful images on it, some of which you even see in at Karnak, which is nearby. So we are now going to, I'm going to take you stopping to share. And Ibrahim, welcome.
Welcome everyone. Hello. I wish all is okay and good health.
It's so good. It's so good to have you here. So would you like to introduce us to your mother and maybe show us around? What do you have planned?
Okay. So my mom, Hajjah, say hi.
Hello. Salam. Hello.
So we are here and we are ready for any question from you. And it is our hair bread.
Thank you. Beautiful. So anyone have any questions? Any
I'm too busy
questions?
looking at the bread in her hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Any
There's,
No,
there's
it's
one
got
in
a,
the
it's got
chat,
a, it's got a,
William. There's a
is there-
question in the chat about the papier-mâché.
Look,
Okay.
Sorry.
So, can someone ask the question? It's going to need to be translated.
Okay, I was just wondering, doesn't the papier-mâché interact with the moisture in the bread dough? The
Just stop
papier-mâché
there, stop.
has gotten sort of melted when it got in contact with water.
Okay. Ibrahim, do you understand the
Yes.
question? She's asking. Okay.
Yeah, what you ask?
She asks whether the dough sticks to the paper mache. Does it stick to the paper platter?
Yes. Yeah, how he looked like that from the water.
No,
He-
she's
he-
talking
Okay.
about the discs that what to call it?
The discs you
Sorry.
put the bread on to settle when it's been made. Does the bread stick to the paper mache disc? The disc.
I don't understand what you mean.
It
No.
does. It's okay, Ibrahim. I'll handle
so-
it. It does not stick. The answer is no. It does not stick. It does not stick.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Is there another question?
Can I ask a question, William?
Yes.
Traditionally, and historically, bread in Egypt has always been made using emmer or barley. What grain do they use now?
Well, I can answer it. They're using They're using bread wheat, probably from America. It's Triticum estivum estivum.
So when do we know when they stopped using traditional barley and emmer?
Well, I think it would be relatively recent, but I mean the whole. I mean, but now they import. Egypt essentially imports water by importing wheat, so they can't grow. You know, they have to be importing, so they're
So they
importing.
don't grow any of their own grain anymore.
No, they do grow some wheat, but not enough. I mean, it's a very heavily populated country, so no, they depend on wheat from abroad. Absolutely, yes. So the answer is
Just modern bread wheat.
it's modern bread wheat. Yes, probably from Saskatchewan, from Manitoba, from Australia. Yes. Another question.
What does the crumb look like on that bread? We saw the crust, but what's the
Okay.
texture of the crumb?
Okay, Ibrahim, could you cut a bread open to show us the inside?
Sure. Yeah, sure. هات الرغيف هنا. جايب رغيف كده. جايب صح؟ أيوة.
Beautiful. Yeah, can you hold it that way? All right.
And I've got another question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
You said that they bake 2 weeks in advance, a 2-week supply. Are they staling them to make them preserve them, or how are they preserving the bread for that period?
Ibrahim,
Yes.
so Andrew is asking, how do you keep the bread? Is it in a box? Is it wrapped in cloth?
Yeah,
Is it
in the
just-
box, and we cover with like some material to not get dry, and half of this we put it in a fridge. Then when we finish in the box, when we finish, for example, my mom, she do like every week more or less 21 from that. So we bought 10 in the box and we cover with material, and other 10 we put it in the fridge. So when they finish the first 10, we get as we want from the fridge, and we put in the oven again for like a few minutes. Then we eat it. Will be like
Great.
fresh again
Great.
when you put it from the fridge.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's a modern system. Any other questions? And then I think we're going to need to move on.
William, people are asking questions about the recipe. So whether it's sourdough and whether there's salt in it.
Okay, thank you. Ibrahim, could you have tell your mother, ask your mother for the recipe, sort of basically how does she make it?
How does she make what?
The bread. Does she use yeast? Does she use some dough left over from the past? Does she use dough left over from the last baking? Let's ask that question first.
Yeah, you see the thing that you when she washing her
Mhm.
and my mom,
Mhm.
the flowers.
Yes.
Yeah, we begin in the beginning, we do it like that. Then after we're going to make it how like you don't know how to
machine to make it soft.
machine to make it soft, like to make white.
I don't know
Yes.
name of it.
Then after we put it in the machine because her hand it's have a problem, so she can't do it with her hand. So we put it in the machine as you make video inside my home.
Yes.
Then after
So-
she put in the things she put in the dish, but it's paper dish like that, but it's
Mhm.
papers.
Mhm.
Then she put in the sun for like more or less 1 hour to get more higher.
Mhm.
Then you put it
Then
in
when
the-
it's ready, like before it's ready, like 15 minutes, she go into the oven and put fire to make the oven ready, like from
Mhm.
20-25 minutes. She put like fire. Then after she clean inside,
Mhm.
then she take one by one inside the oven and she look and close it because the fire not go out, not from down. I can show you the oven and show you exactly.
Okay.
And
Let's.
Ibrahim, hello.
Yes, Jen. Yeah.
Can
Hello,
I
Jen.
ask? Nice to
Let me.
see you.
I want to answer the question. I need to answer the
Yeah.
question though.
Okay,
So
I
the
was going to
direct
ask him
answer-
to.
Okay, the direct answer is that she cleans out the bowl, the mixing bowl.
Yeah. Yes.
And she saves that dried dough, which she puts back in, and she also has packaged yeast. So it's a combination of slightly sourdough and fresh yeast. It's mostly a fresh yeast bread, but it does have a little bit of leftover dough.
Does it have any
Yes.
salt, William?
Ibrahim, is there salt?
So yeah, she put salt.
كم جرام يعني كم جرام يعني
Like
قلت 4 جرام قلت 4 جرام
it's like 2 big spoon salt.
2 big spoons. So yeah, there's salt. There's salt, not a huge amount. There's salt, and this is the bread. Everybody's baking it, and it's fired with plastic. One day they bought a couch, and the whole plastic that the couch had been protected with in the store, that was stuffed in. And around noon in Luxor, every day around 11:30 to 12, the smoke rises from these ovens, and they're just burning everything, scrap as well as straw. They're very, very efficient. Of course, this is not a place where there were forests to cut down. So you could see the fire is underneath and then coming up through the floor and venting out the front. So, and everybody's making this bread, and it's called sun bread. It's called sun bread, and it rises in the sun for at least an hour. Let's see. Do we have time? Ibrahim?
Yes.
Do we have time to go out to look at the oven? Would you be able to
Sure.
show it? Okay. Why don't we do this? Ibrahim?
Yeah.
Because I'm running a little bit late. Let me switch to Shahat. You go to the
Yes.
oven, and I'll get back to you.
But the phone, it's one phone. So if I leave it
One
to
phone. Okay,
Shahad,
one phone. Okay. You go to the oven and I'll talk to everybody. That's fine.
just 30 seconds.
Okay. Okay, so they're going to go out to the oven, and while they're doing that, let me talk. So what I want to say is, and it's partly about being a tourist and a visitor, is that bread is still alive in Egypt today. And the majority of calories that people eat, it's still a staple food. So you're up there, nearly 50% of the calories coming from bread. So we're now going behind their house. They have a couple cows, and this is right next to the hotel that I stay in.
May I ask a question, William? Hi, this is
Yeah.
Freya Rojo, and I'm in Los Angeles, California, so I'm not that far from William. And I'm Mexican from Baja California Sur, and obviously I'm here because I love food. And currently I'm working on a research about food. And thank you for this. So how did you meet Ibrahim and his family? Because you were staying at that hotel and they were making bread, and then
Well,
the
I
smell of the bread came to you?
no, I was walking past their house, and that picture where she is cleaning the grain. So I stood, I watched, I learned how to clean the grain, and I do this a lot in my life, travel and meet people. So I'm very friendly, and that's how we started. So let's look.
So this
I
is
think
the
everyone.
oven
This is the oven.
from inside.
Can you show us the hole in the floor?
Yeah, this is
Okay, you can barely see it, but to the left, there's a
is
hole.
inside. And this is the hole for get the fire from downstairs to up.
Yeah. So it's a different style than ours.
Okay, then just a second. We're gonna put the fire here.
Yes. It turned out the oven that was there before was on someone else's property, and they had to build this new one.
For example, we put the fire here.
Thank you for the demonstration.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Then وين الفضاء ده موجود في الحاجة؟ طيب وين
نجيب المية السنة نجيب المية.
ماشي. Just a second. كشاف الكبير وين؟ خلصي بلاي فيه. بابا خلصي.
They burn the litter from the cows and the turkeys and the chickens as one of the fuels.
خلاص يلا.
All right. Okay, oven mop.
So she do like that to cleaning.
Yes.
Like the water, like that. هات العيش وين المطبوقية؟ المطبوقية وين؟ So, for example, when the oven will be ready, she do from this the bread, for example, like that. Then she put it inside, like that. By one, why by one? Then when it's ready, she take it by this, and she like moving from here to get all it's ready.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Ibrahim.
So
Do
that's
they
all.
cover the
welcome.
door when
No.
the bread is baking, or is everything is
Yes,
circulating?
when
Sorry.
yeah, when she put everything inside, like as the oven she can take like 20 or more. She close it. قفليها. She close it like that. So to make it to don't make the fire go out and not take more time.
Okay. Wonderful. And there's also a stop on the.
that's it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Salama. Thank you very
Any
much.
question?
Okay. Any
You're
questions? We'll move on. Okay, we'll go back in. We'll talk to Shahat for a moment. And
Yeah,
then
sure. Yeah, sure.
so
Someone, Ibrahim, someone is asking
Yes.
how long does the bread bake for when there's 20 in the oven? How long does it take to cook?
Yes, okay, just a second. Ask mom. Yumma, Maya, Yumma, they, يلا بص علي يمه. يمه العيش ياخد كديه من جوا. العيش ياخد كديه ويطلع. 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Thank you.
Yes.
So let's all take ourselves off mute and let's give them all a round of applause for thank.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Hugs to your family and you.
You're welcome. You're
Take
welcome
care, you
anytime.
guys.
Thank
So
you.
remember,
Very much.
Beautiful.
thank you. I want to remind you, this is an introduction to Egyptian bread. And I feel very strongly that when you go places to do research on the distant past, to pay attention to the people who live.
I want to say I'm sorry for the first question. Because I
Oh,
didn't
no,
get the
no,
answer.
great. I want to say this is important. It means a lot to me that when you study the ancient past, you go someplace to look at the ruins and so forth. You know, the people are still, people are living there. And we're looking at this ancient bread tradition, but it's still alive. And bread is alive in Egypt in a way it is not alive in most of our countries. So I think that is, so that's why I'm spending this time now. We're going to run out of time for this talk today, but there's going to be more ones on Egypt. And next, I would like to introduce you to, I'm going to share the screen again, to Shahat. So part of traveling in Egypt, I'm going to show some pictures Shahat first. It's that there are, there are guides, there are people who are showing you places. So this is the back of Shahat up behind the workers' village where we're actually not supposed to be going. And he's showing us first this attempt, a deep well. He also showed us where pottery scrap shards are, and also where there was a place to get ochre. Shahat makes, this is Shahat at his home. He has wonderful family, and Shahat carves the images from the tomb paintings. I think we should all need to get muted again, except don't mute me, on the tomb paintings. And he sells these to tourists. And so I've invited him here today and to show a bit of his wares, talk to you just for a moment, and then we are going to be able to also to commission scenes. He's very, very good. There's other people doing this. His work is really, really precise and exclusive of postage. It's $50 for a small one. And I'll show you what that is. It's, I'm going to stop to share so you can see the small one. So this is, it's this size. Here's an iPhone. So it's, a little bit bigger than that. No, nobody's coming there now. So he does beautiful work. So I'm hoping that a few of you may be interested in buying Don't have to buy today, and you can write to me. But I'd like to Shahat to make presentations. And I really feel strongly that, you know, this whole thing is part of an ecology which includes the tourism and all the people that support us when we go there to visit these ancient places. And it's important to pay attention because, you know, they're here. And right now, of course, very hard to make a living. So let's see, that's the last one there. Okay, Shahat, why don't you come
Yes.
on?
Yes.
Introduce
come.
yourself. This is Shahat.
Yes. I'm ready.
You're ready?
Hello.
All right. Hello. Does anyone, did you bring some other ones that you could show? One or two new ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can show you now?
You can show, yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just want you all to think about this. Don't mean to put you, you know, because until we're going back there, you know, people have to feed their families. So you can correspond with me. We can have him back. And I think we also could commission some bread images from Shahat. His work is very, very fine. It's better than anybody else that I
Yeah,
saw.
I'm showing one of his as well. This beautiful snake and tree.
So,
and-
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Really nice. Ah, with the side light, that's good. Oh, that's beautiful with the light that way.
William,
Yeah.
that's from Ramos, music. People, princess is from music.
Yes.
You seen the music here?
Yes, we see the music.
Yeah, that's music. That's from noble tombs.
Yes.
From princess.
Tombs of the noble.
خليك انت نحن.
So he's working on a plaster of Paris.
Limestone.
Yes.
We cut it from mountain.
Oh, you cut it from the mountain? Whoa.
Yes. That's from mountain.
Whoa.
That's one piece. And I want to show you more something from also from noble tombs.
Okay.
Just a moment.
Show us two more. Show us two more, and then.
ها؟ اثنين؟
لا وري حاجتين ثاني ولا ورينا اثنين ثاني بس احسن اثنين.
Also you have that Ramos.
Beautiful.
That's Ramos.
Just hold still. Okay. Really nice, beautiful. And I've seen him do it. He's just carving. It's very, very precise work that he does. And he's making them. These aren't purchased in the shop.
How heavy are these pieces?
They're not very heavy.
There is how heavy could they?
This is about a creature. I can see
He
now.
can
See now.
Shipping would be extra, of course.
It's like 1 kilo
It's
exactly.
like 1 kilo.
This is 1 kilo. So it's like 1 kilo exactly. Yeah,
All right.
it's like 1 kilo. وري ثالث. وري حاجة ثالث.
Shahat?
Yes.
So I think I'll say, do you want to show us? I think we need to move. So I would like to say thank you very much. I want to talk stay afterwards. We'll talk to you afterwards. Okay?
Okay.
And then people
But we
will be
have
able
time to see more something if you have time.
after. So we're gonna
After, yes.
to see more, and we'll work out a way to buy some. Okay.
Yeah, I wait you. I wait with Ibrahim.
You wait. Okay. Thank you
Yeah,
very
we
much,
have
Shahad.
Thank you,
Okay.
friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's give an applause.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. So let's get back here. And what you're going to find when you actually travel and do work, everything takes a long time. It's always slower than you think. Dan, would you like to do your opening prayer? Dan? Dan, can you set up your...
You want to say something general about ancient Egyptian bread before? Because this is
Well,
very
whatever you-
specific.
Okay. Would I like to? No, I'd like to
Yes.
start. I'd like you to start with what you have.
Okay. What well, I have to see if I can share this with everyone. Can people see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. What I'm going to kind of walk you through is one of the most common funerary formulae in which bread figures. And generally, this formulaic, I guess you could call it a prayer or a bequest, is found either in tombs or on stelae that would be near a tomb. And it can be traced from the Old Kingdom down through the late period and the Greco-Roman era to the end of the use of hieroglyphs. This formula is still in use. I'll tell you why it's called an invocation offering in a minute. What you see on the right here is what is called a false door, which is found in tombs, particularly of the Old Kingdom, and it is thought that this was the door through which the soul, the ba of the deceased, went out during the day and came back through it. And here we have two different versions of the offering formula, one on top of the picture and one just below it. And here is the abundance of foodstuffs that in a magical way, everything in Egypt, in ancient Egypt, has magic bound up with it. But this is to ensure that the individual will, in this case, Neferu, will have this abundance in the afterlife. And I'm going to try and point out the bread he's drinking. The man, the depiction of the man is the deceased. I believe these dark striped cone things are bread. And these, which look kind of like feathers on the table, are actually loaves of bread. So let me go to the next slide. I want this. Okay, to put this in context, ritual offerings to the gods were a daily practice, one offered often made food offerings to the gods several times a day in the temples. This was done by the priests. And so just in the center, we have, I'm not sure which pharaoh this is. I don't see the cartouche. It's too small for me to read. Is offering, it's either incense or some kind of bread to the god Amun-Ra. And then on the left is a picture of a stela where I think it's the pharaoh Psamtik I who is praying and giving offerings to the Apis bull. One of the things that Greco-Roman culture and its subsequent manifestations up through today find very difficult to understand is how the Egyptians could have believed that various animals were divine, because we're all brought up in the Aristotelian principle, or in Genesis, where God gives Adam dominion over the animals because they are inferior. So in Aristotelian or biblical terms, worshiping an animal just doesn't compute. But offerings were made to the Apis bull, who was a live bull, lived in Memphis, and was thought to be a manifestation of the god Ptah. So I just want to stress the point that the invocation offering that I'm going to show you next is not anything unusual. It's part of everyday life in the temple. I should also probably mention that there was theoretically only one priest in the whole of Egypt, and that was the pharaoh. He had the ability to intercede between men and the gods. But unfortunately, Pharaoh could not be at all places at all times, so he delegated his authority to priests at different temples. All right. This is a very simple stela. What I've slightly simplified the the inscription and broken it up into parts. And there are some variations, but this is almost always a set formula, and it is always written this way. So it begins, Hetep Dinesu, an offering given by the king, because he is the intercessor with the gods. And then actually the stela has hair here, which would be two. Two Usir Nebjedu Netra Neb Abdu means an offering that the king gives to Osiris, the god of the dead, the lord of Jedu or Osiris, the great god, lord of Abydos. And here comes the request. Df Peret Heru, may he give. Peret Heru literally means the going out of the voice. So may he, the way it's Egyptologists translate is, may he give an invocation offering. May his voice go out to that he may give an invocation offering of bread. And if you see in the third line, second group of signs, there is a little house here that reads pear. The kind of rudder things going out of it is Hero voice. But on the left of that is a bread loaf ta or t, and here is a jug of beer. It's a very abbreviated writing. So we have bread, beer, oxen, birds, cloth or clothing. Oh, this is linen. This is clothing. I translated it wrong. And everything everything good, pure, good and pure, on which a god lives.
All right. Thank you,
And
Dan.
it ends, may he give this offering for the Ka, that is the spirit of the revered Sobek Hotep, true of voice, Ma'aheru. True of voice means that he has passed through the underworld, and in the ceremony called the weighing of the heart, he has been shown to be a just person. So sometimes true of voice, which is literal, is translated justified. So here, I think the main thing is to notice that bread, that these are considered the basic things that someone would need in the afterlife.
Hey, Dan, thank you.
Yes.
We need to move. We need to move. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay. You unshare. I'm going to share again.
Stop share.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to need to speed up in super time. I want to start with this map here showing Egypt on the left, the Mesopotamian civilization in the middle, and Harappa on the right. And these three huge bread-based civilizations all existed at the same time. And they had interchanges back and forth. And I want you to notice, this is a New Kingdom map. You'll see that Egypt, green goes up into what is today, Gaza and Israel, and up to the border, up to Syria. Egypt controlled Canaan, which we know from the Bible, the Canaanites, and this was Egyptian territory, and it was very Egyptian. The Egyptians also interacted with people in Anatolia, with the Hittites. This is the Hittite copy of the first peace treaty between warring states. And eventually the Hittites came to Egypt and helped them in their armament industry. Point is, there's a lot of back and forth. This is a lintel in Beth Sha'an in what is now Israel. You can see it's all hieroglyphics. This will be, around 1400 BCE. There's a victory stela for Seti the First. When you guys go to the West Bank of Luxor, there is a temple for Seti the First. It is all in hieroglyphics. There is a back and forth. We tend to think of Egypt as this sort of isolated island. It was not an isolated island. These are these magnificent coffins that you'll see in the Museum of Israel. When you go to Israel, and it's worth going to Israel just to go to that museum, the Egyptian culture was there. There's a back and forth. They took slaves, they took concubines, otherwise known as sex slaves, back home. The women will have made bread, will have brought traditions from that part of the world. A lot of what we're seeing, the tomb breads, the prayers to the tomb breads, the Hittites did that, the Mesopotamians did it, the Egyptians did it. I think we tend to think of all this stuff we're looking at as just being Egyptian. It wasn't. It was in the whole area. This is from a Hittite stele. On this stele place of offering, Prince Enat-Seti put 3 times cultic breads for the sun deity. So we're in a culture that is huge, much bigger than Egypt, much bigger than Egypt. Now, this is a recipe for an aromatic bread from Syria, circa 1330. And what you have on the right is a tomb painting. On the top are lotus blossoms for the aroma. The Egyptians were very much interested in aroma. Aroma was a big thing. On the bottom shelf of this offering table, you see the breads, those oval loaves. Smell was important. And look at this recipe from Syria. This is translated by our friend, oh God, help me, sorry, trying to go too fast, Charles Perry, who now lives in Los Angeles. Take finest white flour and add fenugreek, oat moss, sourdough, and the flavorings described for making kak. Knead with milk. Take 1/3 kilo of clarified butter for every 2 kilos of flour. Add to the milk, knead the bread, punch it down. When you look at the recipe underneath it, number 2, it has fenugreek, mastic to taste, toasted anise, nigella seed, whole corianders, whole sesame seed. This was a lovely aromatic loaf. 1330, it's not Egypt, but maybe it is Egypt too. And I think one way we might get close to the heart of Egyptian bread is to look outside of it. Now, the only authentic ingredient and flour for breads during the Pharaonic period is emmer and barley, both in their hulled forms. Around 300 BCE, the Greeks came, and you get the Ptolemaic period. Then you begin to get free threshing grains. The archaeological record shows that the Egyptians didn't just rush and say, wow, this is a fucking good idea. The rest of the Bronze Age world knew that free threshing grains was a great idea. Delwyn has brilliant papers on the processing of the grain. We're not going to get into that today, but the hulled grains have a husk on the outside that have to be gotten rid of. You'll see lots of images in books of people pounding grain in mortars and pestles. They were not making flour. They were just getting rid of that husk so they could then process the grain. It's much easier to work with grain that doesn't have the husk. So farmers mostly abandoned that 3,000 years ago, the Egyptians being sort of the last. Now, this is a painting that I saw in the Cairo Museum that is closing, at least everything's been taken out of it to the new museum. And amazingly, the curator of bread was in the room when I was looking at this, and I brought him over and talked to him about it. And it's the question of the significance of the color white, So you will notice that the person on the left has white fingernails, fingernail polish. You also see these onions. I'm going to stop sharing really quick just to make really clear that it's really clear to you all that green onions are very important today in Egypt with bread, and they were important in the ancient period. So you're going to see these onions often in tomb paintings. And of course, this part is white. This part is white. There is nothing in the tomb paintings as a rule, or this is a painting obviously on cloth, that suggests that any colors were chosen for non-realistic. The colors tend to be realistic. So you'll notice we have these loaves of bread, the oval and around. The stipples, as we're going to see, is where bread was stippled. The white is white and the brown is brown. You're seeing slash patterns. Here on the left is an actual loaf. This is in the museum in Turin. There you have a papyrus. Again, you see the white, and you see that there is white on that bread on the left. Here's artifact. You see that there is actual white on the breads. Delwyn, are you still here? I think Delwyn was going to have to go. I haven't read anything about what that surface might be. We're going to get into the tombs quickly. I want to emphasize that flour was sifted. There is the hieroglyph for sifting. And I'm recommending that if you're sifting yourself, to use a 50 mesh screen, 300 microns for white flour, 40 mesh for military grade, or sort of just everyday flour. 300 micron, the 40 mesh is the, that should be 600 microns for the military grade. That's military grade in early modern England for triticum, estivum. But the 40 mesh screen, and then a 15 to 20 mesh screen, which gets you 850 to 1000 microns, which gets out the big brand. So which eliminates the big brand. So the bread was sifted. And I think what you got to, and of course, remember, we've done sifting. You get what comes through and you get what stays behind. You've got the throughs and the overtails. These breads will have been made with both. Here is a very coarsely woven cloth to prove that they actually could make a coarsely woven cloth. Of course, the Egyptians were brilliant at cloth. So you can imagine that that cloth was woven for bolting of any kind of fineness that you can imagine. There's no technical problem. Here you're looking at 6th dynasty, 2332 BCE. You can look at that cloth. Obviously, you could make the whitest white flour. Actually, you probably get nothing through that one. You'd have to make it a bit bigger. Now, there's this famous scene, the bakery of Ramses III. It unfortunately has been destroyed by water. So all we have are our drawings based on 19th century drawings. On the left here, people are interpreting this as stomping the grapes to produce a must to actually make leavened bread. And on the right, the interpretation is that this dough, which will be made with emmer, is boiled in boiling water and then baked in that tandoor oven. But you also see a creature up above. You see a cow. So I'm going to stop the share and share with you the little cow, the little sheep that I made. And this, of course, is a mold that for making the Paschal lamb. So another entree into Egyptian bread, I think, is through our modern breads. How many of you are Catholic and have taken the host in communion? Raise hands, anybody, the host communion. The host is over 1,000 years old. And when we get into the Egyptian bread and you're starting to think about these huge time spans, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, but we also have a bit of that ourselves. The host in the Roman Church is over 1,000 years old. And I have some hosts right here. These were blessed by a priest in Sardinia for women to crush up and sprinkle on their fields in the spring. Crush up on the spring. But this is an example of a bread that's over 1,000 years old in tradition. So when we think of these Egyptian breads, I want you to come and think back to what we do today. And the same here is making this animal. There's no question that this baking the Paschal lamb as a cake, we're just tied back into this ancient tradition, ancient Egyptian traditions as well. I'm going to share the screen again. I think I should move on to the tombs, but what you're going to see is that a lot of the breads have these dot marks on them, and also the little hole in the middle. something that Delwyn worked on are the molded breads. A lot of bread was eaten molded. People were paid in bread. There were essentially bakeries associated with whatever it is you were working with. And these big sort of loaf breads, after all, a loaf bread is a molded bread, are convenient. Here is a sample bread. Again, this bread will be 3,000 years old. I made one. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Well, who knows? I think I have a picture of it. This is very smooth, so I think we can assume that it is a refined dough of some kind, a refined flour, either a white flour or maybe it's middlings, maybe it's overtails. And a stick was stuck in it and the dough was quickly pushed together. You can see that there's cracking, which suggests that it was a very dry dough. And you'll notice the stipples around the center and then also around the outside. There's a table of these in Turin. And also you see the very rough ones on the right. I'm going to show you. So I made this one. Looks just like the one on the right. You make a ball of bran, mostly bran, because remember you're refining flour. You stick stick a stick in, push it together, bam, you're done. Bread were made in massive quantities. For festivals, 30,000, 20,000, 90,000 breads. So they had a lot. There's a lot of flour was being processed. We're going to see another one where it says that there's fingerprints and palm prints on the top and the bottom. So this is again made out of bran. I cooked this in my oven shelf, and so it's smooth on the bottom pretty much. So I think if you see that a bread has fingerprints on the top and the bottom, it probably was baked in the embers, and we would call these probably cakes. Again, these are examples. So in this case of Egyptian bread, unlike everything else, you can pretty much make the breads. Here's a triangular loaf, and you'll see the white coating. You can see where it has chipped off. Whether that is flour or plaster, I don't know. It hasn't been analyzed. On the right is an offering table. This is the curator of a museum in Sohag. There was that train that just derailed. That was right near this place. So these foods would have been placed on that, on a ritual table platform like that. I want to move us quickly into the tombs, though maybe I should check, since I really did run out of time today. Let me stop and talk to you guys. Okay, here's where we're at. It is now 10:30 when we normally end. How many of you have breads that you were making? Show of hands. Yes, no? Okay. What do you want me to do? Shall I talk for 15 minutes? How much longer do you want me to go for, or do we want to put this over to another talk? Speak up. Do you want me just to keep going?
I think you could put it over.
Shall I put it over or speak up? What do you want me to do? Make it a separate talk?
Speak up.
Hey.
What are you saying?
I can't stay, William. I'm sorry, but it was wonderful. Appreciate it.
Continue, please.
I will suggest that we can make it a separate talk, and then perhaps, I don't know if Ibrahim and the people in Egypt are waiting for her talk. I don't know. I wouldn't want to take their time away.
No, they're not waiting. So the consensus is we're going to reschedule this talk.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, beautiful. I'm off the hook. We'll reschedule. It'll be the week, not next week is 2 weeks is still going to be the bread from TT. It'll be a month from now. We'll get to this talk.
Good.
Okay. Any of you want to show us what you're baked? So officially we're over. Thank you. I hope So we'll see you again in 2 weeks for TT. In a month, we'll be back to the introduction to Egyptian.
William, you have a hand up in the room.
Yes. I think he's just saying that he.
Anyways,
Yeah. What did you want to say? Is that your hand? No. Okay. Do you want to then switch to kitchens now? Do people have dough prepared? Yes. I'm not hearing any reactions.
I thought you were ending this.
I think I'm ending. Yes, we're ending. Okay. Goodbye.
No, but before we end, William, I think you are staying with Ibrahim and the people in Egypt, and to see how we can support from here.
Yes. So
Yeah.
anyone who wants to, so Ibrahim and Shahat are still here. So anyone who knows that they would be interested in one of Shahat's pieces to please stay. All right. Excuse me?
Did you record this?
It's recorded, yes. Yeah. Do you want the recording?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Shahat, are you there? Anybody?
Yeah.
So is there anybody right now who thinks they would like something from Shahat? And otherwise, we can deal with this over time. We'll be back in a month. So you can also think about it for the.
Yeah, and people can send an email to you, William.
Yes. So Shahat, what we're going to do is people will email me and we'll get back to this in 1 month when we do Egyptian bread again.
Where will the recording be?
The recording is up on my YouTube channel, and it will be put there by my colleague Caleb, probably this weekend. All right.
So William, I'm interested in supporting the people in Egypt, but not necessarily getting a piece for now. Perhaps when I have the opportunity to go there, meet them in person, that would be nice. But just to being able to share something that we have here with them. So it will be through you, right?
Yes, you can do that through me. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Rahim and Shahad.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Welcome.
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 And
Hope to
take
see you
care.
again.
And
You too.
Ramadan starts next week.
Ramadan Kareem.
Yeah. Ramadan Kareem.
Yes.
William,
Yes.
can they do a carving that duplicates one of the bread scenes?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
So, any idea on the cost of shipping?
No, we can look into that. I don't think it will be huge.
Hmm.
It's just shipping. They're shipping. It's just standard. DHL or FedEx or somebody. It can be done, or even the mail. I wouldn't worry about the shipping. But we'll find out for next time what the actual cost will be.
So just out of clarification, so I'll send you an email and then I guess you have Bitmo or something like that.
Excuse me?
You have Bitmo or Seller. How do you use?
Venmo?
How do you move?
Oh, I moves money. They use Western Union.
You use Western Union, but to get the money to you, or we can send the money to them straight. Same thing. I'll be happy.
You don't need to go through me. Yeah.
Okay, so can we get the information now? On the chat?
Yes. Let's see. Sorry, I'm a bit.
I put William's email address in there.
Yeah, why don't you write to me and I'll give you the information you need for them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. But yes, you can send the money direct with Western Union. That's what I do. And Shahat depends on the tourists. So
and maybe it sounds as though some people would like specifically to have things with breads in them, and other people may want to buy some of the ones Shahat's already made. So maybe Ibrahim, you could take photographs of them and send those through?
It's hard to take photographs. We need to get better photographs. Ibrahim,
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, even if they're not very good,
no, ask Soliman to take the photographs.
Ask what? Shahat?
Ask Soliman, your neighbor.
Yeah, Ibrahim Suleiman, yeah.
Ibrahim Soliman. Have him take photographs of Shahat's pieces.
Of Shahat's pieces, okay.
Because Ibrahim has very good camera and they're very hard to photograph.
So I asked him to take a video, to take a picture of what Shahat do.
Yes.
Okay, sure,
and
sure.
photographs of the ones that he's already made.
Yeah, all right.
So people can choose one they like, or that
All
means
right.
something
Okay,
to
no
them.
problem. We can do that.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, we can do that.
Thank you. Good.
You're welcome.
And thank your mother so much. It was very.
You're welcome. We are here. You're welcome. Anytime.
We just wish we could share the bread. We could eat the bread again.
Yeah, inshallah. We wait for you after Corona, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about today, but you know, I really feel strongly that we need to deal with always with the real country before you just delve into the monuments. And these are real people living there. And some of the traditions are really still alive. So thank you for your
Thank you,
William.
Thank you. Thank you.
William.
Yes.
You have more time, no?
We have more time. We can stay till, yes, we have more time to talk. Yes, I'm not going to leave. I'm still here.
That you have time. Did we have something small, Peter? You will not see it.
Okay. Do you want to
You have
show
a small
us something?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can show you. It's small.
Then you can show.
طلع تليفون. طلع تليفون.
That's beautiful. Very nice. Really beautiful.
Ah, that's like mine.
Okay. Yeah. It's exactly as what you have.
I love it.
Horus.
This is
Horus.
God Horus.
From Deir al-Medina. Ibis.
Ibis. God Ibis from Deir al-Medina temple. This is it's not heavy like the first, you know.
Isis.
This is Isiris.
Isis. This Isis.
Isis, all right.
Akhenaton, his family.
Akhenaton was his family.
Very nice energy coming down from the sun. Really good.
Yeah.
Senefer.
Senefer.
Yeah, that's an amazing one.
Beautiful. I'm going to commission a bread one. I'm going to work on. I just have been so
Man
busy.
was bread.
Man who was praying.
Nefertari.
Queen Nefertari.
قربوا بعض.
Beautiful.
And this is the last one.
اقول له في تقول لك دي لا اقول له معك واحده زيها.
And I think you have one like that.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the small size.
The
And,
small.
and
Yeah,
there
but
is
you-
also small, but he didn't get it with him
Okay.
today.
I think that's good for today. Thank
Could
you,
show again?
Shahat.
Could you
Thank
show
you.
again the first one?
The first one
Yes,
or
please.
the last one?
First.
Yes, sure. First.
And how do you identify these? If we wanted one, how would we know which one to ask for?
That one?
Is this Naftis? Is this
There's the number.
Naftis? Yeah, number
12.
Number 12.
I don't think
11,
that
12,
was-
yeah.
That's one or other?
There was a different one.
Okay, we will show you all.
That's Robert who killed the
What is that?
That's one?
What is that?
Huh?
Yes. Yes.
What is it?
That's Robert. We killed the cobra. You can see here.
The robot going to kill the cobra.
And then man here we have something for fishing for the Nile. And then here life. You see good?
What number?
This is number 7.
This is number 7.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is number 2.
The Nefertari.
Queen Nefertari. That one?
Thank you. It was number 7 I was interested in.
Number 7?
That is what I was interested in. Thank you for showing it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number
12.
12.
No, 7.
7.
One like mine.
Yes, exactly.
زي بتاعت تحت المرة. دي 7؟
لا لانك دي 7
لا.
هاي 7.
Can you show you yours, Janet?
Yeah, it's this one, the Robert one.
Yes, that's one.
Why is it called Robert?
This is number 7, right?
Yes, thank you. Why is
You're
it
welcome.
called? Why is it called Robert?
Because there is a rabbit here.
The rabbit.
Oh, rabbit.
Rabbit.
Got it.
Yeah. Sorry for our English.
They're much better than my Egyptian.
Yeah, true. It's really fun.
وانا شافها دي امها سنيفر سنيفر that's from Noble Goose.
That was really beautiful.
That's all Shahat work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you.
friend. Welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, friend.
How is your family, Shahat? How's your son?
I want to say you are hello. He's very good.
Good.
He's something good. But my son, the little son,
Yeah.
and then you have a problem in the school, and not yet you go to school. Not yet you go to school. When you try, we go.
Right.
Because anyway, it's Corona now. Is the people you go to some day and 2 days for 1 week. Every people here about day 2 days for 1 week. Ask later. Ask them. Okay, no problem.
You mean like the school, not like before, not all the week, just 2 days in the week.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And he has a boy who has Down syndrome, so he has a boy that needs.
So the extra help is not always there.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's the same here. It's the same here.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, but for people who stop this, also for work. Good, your daughter?
she's very good. She's in school right now in the front room. So she's here.
I think like here, not every week.
Let me see if she can say hello. I'm not sure. It depends if she has a break. One moment, one moment.
How are you, Jana?
I'm very well, thank you. It's so nice to
Wow.
see you two.
We too, we like to see you too, and we wish all is okay for you all and the best, inshallah.
Yes,
And please,
well, we all have to hope that right now. It's
yeah, take a
strange
good care.
times for everybody.
Yeah,
I hope to go again. I hope to quickly go to that.
we
I hope.
Yes,
we really miss the normal life. We really miss.
I know. I
And we
know, we
miss you
all
too.
do. Although now it's so long here that we've
Yeah.
been in
You
lockdown, but we
you
are
stay in
now,
England, right?
yeah, we're going to be,
The
we will be
situation is
allowed
very
to go
bad there.
out from next week, and everyone's like, oh, I don't know, where do we go? Can we really go out? We're so
Yeah.
used to just staying at home.
Are you Arjuni good?
Yes, very
I hope
fine.
you are good. I hope you are good.
Stella's in class, so she's not going to come.
All right. Next time, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Next time we'll try to get her.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah, William.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Shah. And
So,
thank you. so much.
Do you like to any something like shahad, like to contact with shahad? I must go to Ibrahim Suleiman first to bring the picture, right?
Yes.
Then to send you in Facebook or WhatsApp.
Yes. Either way.
All right.
Any.
All right.
All right. Right. If you have oh God. I've lost my mind. You know what? If your neighbor will take he'll take good pictures. We need good pictures.
Okay, of these things, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Good
Yes,
pictures.
with the
And
number.
with the number.
With the number. All right. Okay. I can
And
do
then-
that with I have in my phone good picture too.
Yes.
Great.
He has it's what we need to see good detail.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
it's hard. You have to
But
get
if
the
you
line.
can, yeah, if you can do it on your phone, Ibrahim, then
Yeah.
All right.
you
So
know whether it's a good picture or not.
yes. Okay. So I will went to his place. Then I take like some pictures with the numbers. Then I will send to William.
That's right. And we want to get good detail so people can really see it.
All right. I will do more than the best.
You know, it's an advertisement, and they really an advertisement.
All right.
And
All right.
it'd be much better if he can sell online than if he has to stand there trying to find tourists anyway.
Yeah. He didn't sell here because no tourists. So thank you so
There's
much
nobody.
for helping.
You stopped a few months ago.
Yeah.
Few months ago, you stopped.
We really miss you, and we love to be always together. But the bad situation make bigger problem between us. But it's okay. This is the life.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
for all. All right.
Hopefully next year we can visit. But
Yeah.
Inshallah, you are welcome anytime, my friend.
thank you. We're gonna get your contact via William.
All right, my Facebook and my WhatsApp with William.
Okay, thank you,
you
and
you
have
are
a good Ramadan.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good Ramadan.
Thank
Yeah.
you, guys. Thank you so much. And I have to
Bye-bye.
take
You're
off,
welcome.
but I'll see you next time.
All
Inshallah.
the best. Thank you, William.
You're welcome, Connie. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ibrahim.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you. You're
Thank
welcome.
Bye.
Bye bye. See you.
Right.
Jannah.
Thank you. Oh boy. Hello, Jeff. How are you today? Nothing. All right. Thank you,
We had to
everybody.
bake something.
So
Maybe.
we can go. Do you like any
Are
something
they-
from
You
here?
can go. You can go. I'll talk to you
All
again.
Thank you
Thank
very
you. Bye-bye.
much.
You're
Thank
welcome. You're welcome, my friend.
Lovely to see you.
Thank you. We too. We too.
And love to your families, both of them.
Thank you so much. We love you too. Bye bye. See you later. Bye. Bye.
Woof.